Hello, it's me. In today's video, I'll just quickly explain the overarching goal of next year. So on my gap year, this is exactly what I would like to have functioning by the end of next year, and we will see how that goes. Because this is Muse, the machine-utilized synthetic entity, which is basically my own version of Jarvis that I'm trying to create. And obviously, creating Jarvis is quite difficult. So I'm going to quickly walk you through the different components and explain how they work briefly. I'll probably make individual videos on these as I develop them. This is the voice listener. This already exists, like in systems like Amazon Echo or Alexa. We're able to they're not listening, theoretically, until you call out their name, and then suddenly microphone turns on. Well, they're listening to a certain extent, but the listening only goes directly into a voice or name recognition algorithm that just is looking for the name. Once the name is listened, then whatever you're saying then gets passed on to the brain. So it's basically going to listen for its name, Muse. If you mention Muse, then it's going to be passed on to the name. And there's actually one more thing that I need to add here, which is like a buffer. Because I'm developing this system myself, then I can trust it. So what I want to do is add like a 30-second to 1-minute buffer where it's just always listening to the past things that you've said in the past 30 to 60 seconds. So then you can be thinking out loud and then ask Muse, can you answer that? And then it listens, takes the context of the last 30, 60 seconds, and then feeds it off to the brain. The brain, I'm planning to use a large language model, either by OpenAI or Cohere, or I could use an open source one, perhaps Orca or something along those lines. And especially right now, probably OpenAI, because they just implemented something where you can like format a function call, which is going to be incredibly useful. So I'll probably use the OpenAI API to do this. And this part will be built from the skeleton that I outlined how to make in a previous video using the ChatGPT chatbot that I showed you guys how to make. From the brain, there are a lot of different things. So I would like it to be able to pull from a long-term memory and from a skill library when I'm specifically using it. So when I'm using it, then it should be able to pull from the skills it already knows to be able to complete the tasks or whatever questions I'm asking. And it should be able to pull from a long-term memory module so it can remember who I am, what I'm doing, what I'm currently working on, the tasks that it already knows, and just other knowledge or memories that it has acquired. Here there's a little ego part, and I'll explain that later. But for skill development, there's a paper that I have yet to read, but I found and I quickly skimmed it. It's Voyager, which is a Minecraft AI that uses GPT-4, I believe, to explore Minecraft. And it has a skill library that Voyager uses and a skill developer that Voyager uses to add skills to said skill library. Then the brain pulls skills from the skill library and then can use it to complete tasks. My plan is to read that paper, probably tomorrow, and figure out a way to use that said skill library in a context slightly wider than Minecraft. That means skill development for something more like check my email and synthesize whatever is there at the moment. So like summarize inbox, or how warm is it going to be today? Check the weather, or add X task to my to-do list, or find books about X topic, and so on. So it can develop those skills and add them to their skill library. I'm planning to put this on a separate computer to my actual computer, but to have this on a separate computer that can be running. So then when I'm not specifically using it, it is using its time to develop skills that are relevant to whatever I am trying to, or that are most relevant to the recent things that it has done. So this part exists, this part exists, this part I believe exists, but I need to double check if the thing that I think could do this is something that I can actually adapt to the system. This long-term memory system, I have not found anything that is on par with what I would like, which means I need to make it myself. So after a conversation with me, Muse should be able to basically just export this conversation into memories into its long-term memory. And from this, it should be able to assemble a model of how the world works via interacting with me and what it learns from interacting with me and other people that it interacts with. It should be able to assemble a model of how the world works, and it should also be able to self-reflect, which is this ego part. And this is something, and self-reflect is in heavy quotes here, but this is something that I read a paper recently, the Generative Agents for Human Simulacra. It was actually a very good paper, but they get these ChatGPT agents to reflect on their character and develop ideas about themselves. And that would be fascinating to me, to actually have this muse slowly develop a personality of some kind. Even if it's all pretend and all prompt engineering, to other people it would feel real to a certain extent, whereas to me it would all just be the prompts and the engineering behind it because I'm the one making it. Anyways, let's say I ask it to do a task. Let me grab my phone here. I ask it to do a task. It pulls from its library, it pulls from its long-term memory. It knows who I am, what I'm currently doing, and the tasks that are relevant for that thing. It gets the answers from the skill library. Then it answers and pulls from its own personality into a voice synthesizer, which also exists, to then answer back to my question. That is my plan for the end of my gap year next year. And this is the journey that I will be, this is basically my roadmap. I need to map this out slightly better, but this is the plan. So if you're subscribed to this channel, even if there's a lot of random videos being posted right now, you'll get to know me better. But this is the overarching goal.